Meanwhile, Atletico Madrid kick things off tomorrow. Of course, some of their players that did really well in the World Cup. Simeone, though, will sort that out. Joao Felix, he says, and it's an important part of this team. It's ridiculous, isn't it, Gemma? We know that these two don't, that Felix doesn't fit in this Simeone setup, and it's only a matter of time before he leaves.
Yeah, I mean, they don't like each other. I think that's pretty clear. Joao Felix and Diego Pablo Simeone. It's still a big opportunity for Joao Felix, and I think he might be starting on that game. What we've seen in Atletico last training is that I think Simeone, even though what he thinks and everything what happened, and that he hasn't been starting in the last Liga games, he will give him an opportunity playing next to Antoine Griezmann, probably Morata in the bench, maybe to get the momentum of the player, that he recovered the happiness playing in Fernando Santos' squad with Portugal in Qatar. Yeah, it's a matter of time that he will be leaving. This is might be pretty clear, but there is another circumstance, is that he is the top signing of Atletico Madrid, 127 million euros, and they cannot sell him cheap. Because they cannot afford the losing so much money for their economical situation. And how many clubs are in Europe that can afford 100 million for this player? Not many. They are studying a kind of loan to the Premier League. We will see, but I think until this winter transfer market, this is one of the big issues of Atletico de Madrid in the next transfer window. But until this is happening, I think we will be seeing Joao Felix, Simeone giving him yet another chance, and we will see. But of course, it's a different situation. He won't be having the freedom he has when he plays for Portugal. It's another way of playing, another way of understanding football for Diego Pablo Simeone.
With your Arsenal way, Jules, do you want him?
Well, for sure is that Uncle George is trying to, is pretty much calling everybody on earth to try to find a club for Joao Felix. Very, like Gemma just explained, and rightly so, on loan probably, maybe with an option to buy. Not sure about the obligation to buy at the end of the season, but certainly, at least if you loan him and he shines in whatever club that is, Arsenal, PSG, Manchester United, Chelsea, wherever you want, and that's the kind of club that Jorge Mendes is trying to find an agreement or find some sort of interest for Joao Felix, then I think it'd be easier in the summer to maybe find a club on a permanent basis. And in the same way, if you play him tomorrow, if he does well, and if he does well in the next couple of games, 3 games, again, it'll be easier. You can say, look, he's got momentum, he's back in confidence, he's just not working out for us here and for him here. But if you take him on loan, he can do well for it. All of that is very important right now. I think there's a player in there, but we've said it from day one. This was the wrong transfer. He's been almost like locked in because of the amount that they paid for him. But from the beginning, we've known that this was wrong. So there's a player there. It depends on the conditions, but I'm sure there's a lot of clubs that can do with a very good Joao Felix in their team for sure.
And Arsenal are not one of them.
You don't think so?
I just don't see where the room is from.
Right.
They have Odegaard was fantastic again. Smith Rowe's been out, but he can play anywhere along there. They signed Vieira from Porto in the summer, who's a playmaker, whose game time has been limited, but he's another player of that kind of ilk who can open up defences. So you're just chucking another one in, whether it's, I don't know, short term or not, it's another salary in there. Upsets the rhythm and upsets the apple cart a little bit. So I really...
I'd have him. I'd have him through the middle for Jesus.
I'm not saying I'm not
I'd have him.
I'm not saying I'm not having him.
What are you going to do with him?
Yeah,
Play him through the middle.
In place of?
Jesus. No. Jesus, I was injured, playing through the middle.
And Nketiah's come in, done well, he rocked the boat there.
And Nketiah's not the answer.
And I don't think Felix through the middle on his own up there with 2 guys wide of him is the answer either, if I'm being honest. I just don't think... He's a completely different player from Jesus.
Right.
Jesus has got old-fashioned centre-half skills centre-forward skills about him, but he's also got playmaking and physical skills, and he can drift into wide positions. His movement good, his link-up's good, and he's physically strong. Yeah, I think Felix is a tremendous player. He's lacked consistency, but I think Arsenal have 5 or 6 that go along that front line that they can rotate from. And I just think if you're throwing another one in there, it's maybe a bit of a head.
I just don't think you can find anybody with the same skill set as Gabriel Jesus. You want a short-term fix, and I think Joao Felix through the middle gives you that, especially on loan, not all that expensive.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.